Burt Reynolds died the other day. So did John McCain. And it's got me thinking a lot about our legacy, how we live our life. And I was in the car the other day just after I heard about Burt Reynolds dying, and I heard the Tim McGraw song called Live Like You Were Dying. That's a subject for today's show.
Cowboy.
Welcome to a daily dose of greatness quest with your host, Trevor Crane, my daddy. He is going to help you take your life and business to the next level.
Here I come to save the day.
Trevor Crane here, 11-time #1 best-selling author and the founder of Epic Author Publishing, coming to you live every day so you can plug in every day to build your ideal business so you can live your ideal life.
If my daddy can do it, then anybody can do it because he's a weirdo.
You're supposed to make me sound cool.
All right, Live Like You Were Dying. I found it crazy that when I heard about Burt Reynolds, who lived a pretty amazing life. If you, I'm guessing you've seen multiple movies with him in it. I'm guessing you know the name. I don't know how many people in like the Northern Hemisphere would not know his name. And here's what was crazy is I was watching him being covered on the news. Now, I'm only watching the news and looking at common TV stuff every once in a while when I'm at a doctor's office, dentist office. If I happen to turn on a TV at a hotel, which rarely happens anymore, but if I do, I'm typically flabbergasted by the commercials because I don't ever watch commercials, and I don't plug into common news stuff on a regular basis. That's probably a mistake in some degree, but I just can't stand the negative news, and so I just don't pay attention to it. But I was in the doctor's office. My wife was going through some procedure that was minor. There's nothing to like, oh my God, is she okay? It was all good, just normal health type stuff. But I was in there, and I saw them talking about Burt Reynolds, how he died at 85, and they were celebrating his life, and they said nothing except complimentary things, and it went on for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, which I think is a long time for TV and media stuff to be paying attention to something. 2 minutes, maybe 3 tops. And at the end of that, and they gave a couple of nice quotes that Burt had, right? They showed a picture of him with some of the women that he's dated, and they showed him in some of the little snippets, like the tiniest little snippet of him in some of his movies. And then they shared with it 1 or 2 quotes from him, maybe 1, I think, where he said something to the effect of, nobody has, when they look at his life, like, he said something about, like, he lived a very fun life. Nobody would have had more fun than he did. And that was it. And then they just went on. They were like, okay, now another news. And they went on to the next thing. And it was crazy to me. Here's this man who dies at 85, everybody loves. And then his epitaph, like what they speak about him, obviously not what was written on his tombstone, which is a whole other conversation. But and I know they probably covered him again and again and again. I'm not saying this was the only news coverage. I'm sure it was on every channel, and I'm sure they talked about it incessantly. But I don't pay attention to that shit. But it's just more of like what's sensational today. What stood out to me was the fact that even a man who's contributed and created as much as Burt Reynolds, life just went on. I saw the newscasters. They're like, all right, well, he's dead, so that's really sad, but let's move on. Like, it's just over. Like, snap your fingers, and it's gone. And that just blew my mind, quite frankly. The world seems to revolve around me right now. I don't know about you, but I suspect the world revolves around you. Like, I'm the kind of the most important person in it. It's me and mine, right? The things that I'm focused on. I can only see the world from behind these eyes and through these senses, and that's it. And then the day after I'm dead, all of that is gone. And the only thing that lasts and the only thing that's left behind is what? What do we have for Burt Reynolds? What do we have for John McCain? And this is freaking me out. And it's freaking me out because it's giving me perspective and it's challenging me about how I want to live the rest of my life. And I know I've been talking about this a little bit on some of my most recent podcasts. I know this isn't tactical shit to help you tell your story, publish yourself, take your business to the next level. This is just about some soul searching on how you want to live. And then on my drive home, I dropped Robin off for a little bit, and I was on my own in the car with my son, and he was, to help him fall asleep. If I'm driving without my wife in the car, I was singing, and not even my son really wants to hear that, but he will fall asleep when I sing for some reason, probably to escape the warbling. But I was singing to Tim McGraw's song, Live Like You Were Dying. And in the lyrics it says, I hope one day you have the chance to live like you were dying. And I've been thinking about my legacy and what will be left behind and who will care when I die. It's pretty much just my family. I mean, there might be a few people that I've helped and a few friends of mine that will care, but there's going to be a much smaller group of people, I mean, obviously, than Burt Reynolds that are even going to even blink, care, or know. And I'm coming back to like how I want to live the rest of my life and what it is that I want to create and contribute and what it is my life is going to be about and some of the things that I'm grateful for about it so far and some of the things that I'm compelled to now go create and contribute. And so in creating, I've started researching goal setting and goal achievement and I've got a book I've got planned and I've started that I'm working on right now around goal setting and goal getting and setting and getting any goal. It's called Get Any Goal. And I've got my 30-day goal setting challenge with the gift book that I wrote. And honestly, like what I leave behind, I think what I recognize, like if I was gone fucking tomorrow, my 7-month-old son would have what? I mean, he'd have pictures of me. That's it. And he'd have the memory and the stories that my wife and daughter and his grandparents might tell. And that's it, except for the books that I've written. And I can't tell you how great it feels to have some books that I have written that will be gifts for him that at some stage, and my daughter can read at some stage and look into like what I believed in, what I thought, and if they want to learn more about their dad, they can check that out. They can also check out my podcast. They can also check out the interviews I've done on podcasts when I'm either being interviewed or I'm doing the interviews. They can have my son and my daughter are probably the only ones that will ever care about Trevor's life at this stage. They could look back and they could see the movie that I created with Phoenix, my daughter, when we did this little 20-minute movie called Kitty Wars. And that's the movie we created for her second book. It was a big project. But when it comes to legacy, they get to, that's about it. It's what did we create and what did we contribute. Now, I think that's kind of it. They get the example that I've left. So did I leave? How did I live? They get to see whether or not I followed through with what I said I was going to do or not. They get to see if I was a worrier or a warrior. They get to see if I was a winner or a loser. That's what they get to see. They get to maybe have a memory of me and how we lived every single day. So I've recently come up with 4 little, like a code of conduct for myself with this. And I'm going to share with you that code of conduct and then challenge you today real quickly to consider your own code of conduct. And if you like mine, you might want to use it. And if you want to change it, then adopt it to be your own. But I've got a code of conduct that I didn't create, but was given to me by Garrett J. White and the Warrior's Way. And that's the core 4 that I'm focused on my body being balanced in business every day. And I'm focused on doing some things with my discipline. That's my every single day. And that's cool because my kids can see that I either live that or didn't live that based on that code. But I'm also talking about this new code, these 4 little pieces I'm going to give you. And it's a lesson that I learned from after my best friend and dog passed away years ago before I had kids. And I recognized that she died because I didn't put up a fence in my yard. That I didn't teach her about traffic. The smartest dog in the world that could do all these carnival tricks and stuff. So cool. She's my best friend. She went everywhere with me. She worked on a boat with me. She went up in a hot air balloon with me. She traveled on airplanes with me. She went everywhere. And then she died right outside my house in the street, hit by a car. And I was torn up about it, as you might imagine, for those of you who've lost pets. And it took me a while to process, like a lesson in it, a gift in it that ended up serving me. And it broke my heart, and it gave me freedom to recognize that my dog had made an ultimate sacrifice, and that I found the gift in it from her, that it's important to love first. Because I had not loved first. I had not taken her safety as important as it was to me. I just didn't do anything about it. And I recognized that at one point in my life, in the future when I had kids, that if I just remembered the lesson that my dog gave me, that it was important to love first, because that was her gift to me, was this unconditional love. If you've ever had a dog or a pet that loved you unconditionally, you know what I mean. And so I still feel like she's my guardian angel. So I feel like the code that I want to live and that I want to leave for my kids is the lesson, and for the world, whoever cares enough, if you care about this, then you should live it too, is that love first, above and beyond all else. And sometimes I think I've forgotten that. And I don't want to forget it anymore. I want that to be on the tip of my tongue and the forefront of my mind, to love first, love unconditionally. I think a great role model for that is the Dalai Lama. I heard recently that he was asked, like, what happens when somebody comes to you with a lot of anger? They come to you with a lot of pissed offness. They come to you with a lot of judgment and whatever. And he said something to the effect of, he goes, when that happens, I just refuse to accept that gift. He doesn't hate them. He doesn't fight them. He just refuses to accept that gift. What a beautiful way of looking at it. Okay, so love first. And then the next thing I have is learn. Love, I'm a simple guy. I want to come up with simple phrases and terms and things that I can remember shit. So it's like one-word stuff often. So love first. And then learn. I want to learn and grow. I think that's our capacity. I think that's why we're here, is to expand. So I want to learn stuff. Now I love that because I love to love and I love to learn. So this is going to be good shit. And I thought, well, what a great gift to give and to have a path that's just, I think it's beautiful. But there's not just about learning, not just the passive learning, but the next thing that comes next is living what I learn. Like not just to read the book, but to apply what's there. And I just recently started playing tennis, and this is in the last week or two. And I haven't played tennis since I was pretty much 18 years old. I took a class, and that was about it. I took one little 3-month class on how to play tennis. And then in a few times in my life, I've played it. I played it a little bit, enough to enjoy it. And I didn't play for 25 years or something like that, whatever it was. And just a couple weeks ago, I started playing again, and I'm miserable. I have some athleticism because I've played sports in the past. I'm not the worst, but I just realized that I really like it, and I like playing sports. And I haven't played sports consistently for a long-ass time. And so I'm out there playing, and I'm like, you know what? The whole purpose of Greatness Quest was to become the best, become my best, become your best. That's if I had my little subtitle for Greatness Quest is become your best. And then it's to take your life and business to the next level. But if it's to become my best, then that means I need to learn how to be the best at tennis. If I'm going to play, then I'm going to become the best. Maybe that's the best at the gym. Maybe that's just the best for me. Whatever that is, that's my commitment, whatever I'm going to do. But it's love first, learn it, and then live it. And then the last thing is to lead it. So those are my 4 words. Love, learn, live, lead. Love, learn, live, lead. Love, learn, live, lead. And to look at it and challenge myself on the things where I am not learning, living, or leading. And so one of them, quite simply, is tennis. Because I'm like, you know what it needs to be? If it's going to be in my life, if these are going to be my code, then I need to do it everywhere. So I'm doubling down. I'm going to take private lessons. I signed up for some group lessons, really nice, and I'm doing okay. You know, I'm getting. I never even knew how to hold a racket. I never even knew how to swing. There's a lot of things I just don't know about the game of tennis, and it's kind of cute that I'm there practicing some stuff. But if I'm going to be my best, I'm hiring somebody to help me become my best. And I have the opportunity to do that in every area of my life. So let's look at body, being, balance, and business. So let's talk about balance, my family first. So I may not have Arnold Schwarzenegger style vision. I did some research about Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger recently, who does a great talk on his 5 rules that he chose to live by. Number 1 is vision. And he said when he was a young man living in Austria, when he was a young boy living in Austria, living in a country that had been devastated by World War II, he saw a documentary on America and said, I want to go to America. That was his first just dream and vision. And everyone looked around like that was not even a possibility. This is in the 50s or whatever it was. And it was an impossible dream. And then he saw later, maybe a few years later or whatever it was, he saw a bodybuilding magazine and decided he wanted to become like Mr. Universe. And he saw his path. And then he eventually did both, obviously. And then he had this vision to become a movie star, not just a movie star, but the best movie star. And he had a vision for that. Then he wanted to become a public servant, and he became the governor. And I'm like, okay, if I look at my vision, I don't have that yet. I don't have a vision of becoming the best in the world in any capacity that the world will ever know, except for my little circle. However, and I'm not thrilled about that. I want bigger vision. But I have a real powerful vision right now that it would be disrespectful to ignore. And is that if my commitment is to become my best, and that's what I would challenge you to be, is to be your best, then I have a very important commitment to my family to become the best father ever in the world, the best father in the world to my kids, the best husband to my wife, the best leader in my business or whatever I do, the best son, the best friend that I can possibly be. Which I think is such a great vision. I don't necessarily need to be king of the world. I don't need to be the rock and movie star, but I can be the best to the people that I care about most. And so I'm excited because my new code of love, learn, live, lead is something I've been practicing to a certain extent. I don't know that I had defined it in those terms specifically, so I'm sharing with you my new epiphany and how I'm excited because it feels like it's a good path. And I found insight into what I do think can make a difference in my kids' lives and what I can leave behind. When it comes to live like you are dying, it's making me remember, and I have that phrase now written in my journal, and it's soon to grace my wall. It just reminds me that I have to do this every day, and that I want to have all these adventures. So I'm going to wrap this up with one more thing, and it is how I'm currently setting goals for myself. And I'm in the process of improving my goal setting and goal getting path and plan. But what I'm recognizing in Burt Reynolds and what I'm recognizing in John McCain the two guys that I said that are famous that just recently passed, is what they have created and contributed. I shared this on another podcast recently. I think those are two core questions. So I think I've got these three sections of how to set goals. And I'm definitely setting challenges for myself in every area of body, being, balance, and business. So I've got a 12-week and a 12-year challenge for myself of what to accomplish in 12 weeks, in 3 months, in a quarter, and a challenge for myself of what I'm going to accomplish in a day, in a year. And those need to be massively improved, and I need more progress there. So I'm not going to get into those and brag to you about my amazing challenges and how I've made those happen, because I'm not there yet. But those are challenges. I've got 3 sections for goals. And it is, where am I going to go? What am I going to give? And how do I need to grow? And I learned this in some of the homework that I've been doing for goal setting, is that these are some phenomenal areas to set goals, and they're ones that we can seek and accomplish and feel great about ourselves and they're just better than just money. Oh, I'm going to make this amount of money in a given time. I've got that. That's great. I've got that in my business challenge for myself on a 12-month and a 12-week and a whatever. But I love this, where am I going to go? Now, for me, I like adventure and I like travel, so I'm now thinking, well, where am I going to go? What are the vacations? What are the experiences that I want to have? And experiences might be a better word. But for me, I'm just, it started with the letter G. It's a short word, so I went with, where am I going to go? Where am I going to go? And I know I've always wanted to go to Egypt. I started thinking about a lot of other places I want to go and other adventures I want to have. So this one's a fun one. Oh my God, this is fun. My wife and I did so much traveling this last year and had so many cool, fun adventures. I'm excited about this, and I'm excited about this being how I live my life. If I was to pass in the next 30 days or in the next 12 months, how would I live my life? Shit, if you're not writing down these questions and considering them yourself, I really think you should. If you were to die in the next 30 days, if you got a death sentence like the idea of live like you were dying actually leads us to, which is that the father in the story, in the song, has developed cancer. And what did he do when he knew he was going to die? How did he live? And he went skydiving and he did some other cool stuff. What would you do? And so I'm excited about this, because this is something I want to create and contribute. This idea of how I set my goals and how to help people get goals. Like before I leave, I will figure this out. I'm going to have this amazing new book, this amazing course, this amazing program that will live beyond me, that will help people set and get any goal. And one of the areas I'm hoping goes in there is this concept of where you're going to go. And then what are you going to give is the second one. Because the concept of contribution here, of what are you going to create and contribute that is beyond you. On some of my research around this, I have found a very rich man. I think he's a billionaire. Might be mistaken, but he's super cool. Makes a bunch of money. And he was talking about how he sat down with the billionaire. And he paid him, he said, and he had lunch with this billionaire. And he was excited to ask him questions and interact with him. And he found that this guy was thinking, he had a vision 50 years in the future. He was excited like a little kid about a vision he was creating about 50 years in the future after his death. That he was creating something that would make a significant contribution, and he was excited, talking about it at lunch like he was an excited little kid about what he was going to create that would contribute. What are you going to give? And I know I'm in the process of creating some things that I want to live beyond me. I want with what I'm creating with Epic Author Publishing, with what we already have and how I'm improving it and how I'm changing the way we're going to deliver it, how I'm changing the way we're going to sell it. If you want to get a book done, I want you to know, and this is, I'm not trying to sell you right now, this is my vision, is that I want people to know if they want a book done, you come to Epic Author Publishing, period. And if you want your book to be the right book that helps you meet your mission, make some money, turns into a phenomenal marketing tool, you come to Epic Author Publishing. If you want it done fast, if you want to have it become your most powerful marketing tool, if you want to feel like you have left a legacy and you've learned how to become a powerful storyteller, you come to Epic Author Publishing and you get it done. And that's regardless of whether or not Trevor Crane is still around to lead it. That's what I want to create. I'm also wanting to create and contribute this goal setting and goal getting course and program. Has it been done before? Sure. I'm trying to make my mark on it. I'm trying to create and contribute something that will live beyond me. So where am I going to go and what am I going to give? Now, give for me has those two parts, what creation and contribution. What do we have for Burt Reynolds? We can look back to his movies, man. What do we have from you? Not everybody's going to be a movie star, but everybody can write a book. And I am extremely happy that if I got hit by an asteroid right now, that I would have my books would live beyond me, that my courses would live beyond me, and that my podcast would live, at least my kids, the people that might care about me would be able to tune in to what it is that I think is important or was important when I was still kicking. So where am I going to go and what am I going to give? And then the third one for goals is where am I going to grow? How am I going to grow? Like, who do I need to become in order to create and contribute the things that I want to give? And who do I need to become so that I can afford, so that I can spend the money to have the experiences that I want to have? And so this is, how do I need to grow? This is back to that personal development. So this now comes back to my love first. What is it that I love and want to put my time into and energy and passion every single day? Do I want to be a whiner or do I want to be a winner? How do I want to live? And what do I need to learn? And then when I learn, what do I learn? What am I going to now live and then lead? And so these all are tying in for me. And is it a well thought out, perfect formula for you? Not as perfect as it's going to be. How about that? But I am sharing with you where I'm at in my mind space on this podcast. I'm sharing this with you so that I have something that I have created and contributed. I'm sharing this with you because if I get hit by an asteroid in the next couple of minutes, that this will live beyond me. And at least this moment, and I know it'll make it better, and I know I will improve it, and I know my code will be improved, but I am creating so that I can contribute, and I am creating the new vision for who I will be, and I want to live like I am dying. And if I had a month left, or if this was my last year, I'd be up doing this morning. That I'm proud of. I'm figuring out the answers to the questions, and the important part is having the questions. Because I know my answers will get better. So I've only begun to start to answer these questions. This is not that now I have the answer. Now I have the answer. This is it. I found it. That's it. No, I don't think that. I don't know now. Maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger figured that out. He knew his big visions, and then they didn't shift. I think what's most important is to keep asking the question, and the questions, and then we keep finding a new level of our answers. And these questions are helping challenge me to take my life and my business to the next level. So I thought maybe they would support you. And Live Like You Were Dying is now on this repeat cycle in my subconscious. And it's going to be one that I listen to again today as I go out to live by this code and try to create the things that I want to contribute, and then the rest of it. So my challenge to you is to take on some of these questions today. I've got a lot of questions today and not a lot of answers. I've got a lot of questions. I've got some answers for me, but my challenge to you would be to ask these questions and to come up with some answers for yourself. To ask the questions and find the questions and discover the questions that are the right questions for you. And if you like my code and you like some of the things that I've shared with you, it's not because I've created them all. It's not because I'm the guy that, I'm the magic man that made this up. This is not Trevor wisdom here. This is a combination of things that I have learned and that I am discovering and that I am sharing. This isn't my formula for you to have perfect success every time. It's just sharing with you where I'm at and how I'm choosing to live, and maybe this will help you figure out where you're at and how you choose to live. And with that, I hope you make today magnificent, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow, another daily dose of Greatness Quest.
To get even more awesomeness, which means all my best stuff, download my app by texting Trevor to 36260. It will show up right on your cell phone. Just text message the word Trevor to 36260. Talk to you soon.